Hi, good morning everyone. Let's get started with the next topic in this training session, which is SAP Security Introduction. In this topic, we'll talk about what is SAP Security, why we need the security. Security in the context of IT denotes giving access to users to only those system resources which they require to perform their jobs. In SAP, these resources generally take the form of either business applications or administration tools through transactions, screens, tables, programs, reports, web services, etc. So basically, in the context of IT security, what SAP security is basically to give the access to the resources, and in SAP the resources are transactions, the screens, the tables, the programs, the reports, the web services, etc. So that is basically the SAP security in nutshell is. And how do we give these controls, how do we assign this, and why this is important? Let's see in this slide. SAP being an ERP solution comes loaded with huge number of applications which can be configured to map the business processes of an organization like procurement, manufacturing, sales, financial, accounting, controlling, and human resource management. It is imperative that only actual employees, business partners get access to the SAP system. So we call this as an authentication, that is giving access only to the actual people who needs the real access, that is authentication. Each user using the SAP system should have access to the applications relevant to their jobs, that is authorization. So just take note of these two terms, which is authentication and authorization. Authentication basically giving the access to the system, and authorization is basically giving the relevant roles to perform their work. For example, we certainly do not want an employee working on the shop floor to get access to see and update bank details for other employees. So that is basically a role segregation of duties or security means. That is, whatever employee or the person is supposed to do, we are giving access only for that particular roles or privileges or access to that particular employee or user. So that in nutshell the security is, that is, give the access only for the purpose it is required and do not give any access extra. So let's see the two key terms, which is authentication and authorization. Authentication is ensured by having a unique user ID and password for each user maintained as part of the user master record. Any user trying to access SAP system should have valid user master record. We will be seeing what user master record is. Basically, it's the information about the user's name, email address, telephone contact, roles which allow access to different applications. That is authentication. Authorizations are implemented through roles or other older security term, that is activity group, which was used in the previous versions of SAP and typically assigned to users through their user master record. Each role has one or more corresponding authorization profiles with different authorizations. It is the authorization profile which actually gives access to users. So these are two most important terms in SAP security, that is authentication, which is basically giving access to the user to connect and log into the system. So that's what authentication is, that is person can log into the system, that is he's authorized, authenticated to log into the system. And authorized means to perform transactions. So there are different levels of authorizations. So user ID access, that is using user ID and password. Transaction code access, basically giving an access to an object S_T code with values as FB01, MM01, etc. depending on the type of activity. Authorization access basically is the values for things like F_BKPF_BUK, M_mate_BUK. Basically here you can see that this is a user master record which is having information about the authorization object field values. This is the field values, the roles and profiles, and the user master record. So these are the three key terms which is used explicitly in security, especially when we are creating an object, when we are assigning the object, putting the objects in a role, putting the objects in a transaction, and putting an object roles to a user's profile. So these are basically the key terms which is used in the context of SAP authorization. So what we have seen so far is the main things are, from security perspective, we give access to the users what they need to perform. So in case if they need to perform banking related activity, we'll give only access to the financial users. If they are from the HR department, we give access only for the HR related users. And how do we maintain them? We can see there are three different levels. One is user ID access, transaction code access, and object level access. Okay, that's all actually I wanted to cover in this particular training session. Thank you for joining and have a nice day. Bye bye.